Hello everyone and welcome to Meet an Animal Friend Friday. I brought a very special friend to meet you guys today. My name is Kaylin and this is Andy, and Andy is a chinchilla. And she got her name because of where she's from. So chinchillas in the wild are found in the Andes Mountains in South America. Andy here is 7 years old, which is it's a middle age for a chinchilla in human care. They can actually live quite a bit longer than that too. In the wild, they'll live typically to be about 10 years old, but they have several adaptations that are really special that help them live in those Andes Mountains in South America. One of them is their hind legs. They have spring-loaded hind legs. They're very strong, muscular back legs that they use for jumping. So as you can imagine, around the Andes Mountains, it's really important that they're able to maneuver around quickly and jump really well. They can actually jump about 6 feet. So, larger than the size of a lot of humans. They can jump that long. It's really impressive how far they can jump. They're mainly herbivores, which means they're going to be eating the native plant material around that mountain range in South America. Here we feed her what's called a wild herbivore diet. She gets prairie hay as well. She really likes that. But they have these short front legs. You can see they're very short compared to their really long back legs. And they'll perch up whenever they're eating and use these short front legs to hold their food and to hold it steady while they're eating. So another cool thing about them, another cool adaptation. You'll notice when you look at their head, they have these really large ears. And those are important for a few different reasons. One being, anything that you see a part of an animal that's enlarged like that, it typically means that it's very specialized sense. So when you see Andy has these really large ears, it's used for hearing, and they can capture sounds really well because of how large her ears are. Another really important thing that their ears are for are what's kind of a big word, but it's called thermoregulation. So the heat exchange between their ears and the air will actually help cool them off. You notice she has a ton of hair, and the Andes Mountains where they're found is actually a pretty dry climate. Chinchillas can't get wet because of all this hair. They have about 40 hairs per follicle, where we have 1 hair per follicle. So it's extremely dense fur. And they can get overheated. That's one big concern with chinchillas. They have to be kept in a cooler environment or else they'll get too hot. But if they do start to heat up, one thing that they can do is filter the blood to their ears, the warmer blood, and the cooler temperatures on the outside in the air will help cool that blood and filter it to the rest of their body so that they can cool down. So this is a question and answer as well. So if any of you guys have any questions while I'm talking, go ahead and put them in the comments and I will answer them in just a minute. So you'll also notice, looking at her head, she has these really large eyes. That's really important because since chinchillas are herbivores, they're going to be more on the bottom of the food chain where they're at. So larger animals could be looking to them as a potential food item, but these large eyes help them see the predators. They're really quick. They can jump quickly to get away. They also live in groups. They're very social animals. And so since they live in groups, that group mentality can help them kind of be mindful of their surroundings and be watching for any prey or predators that may be looking for them. Now, they do have several defense mechanisms that are really cool that help protect them if they need it. So one thing is their bodies are actually pretty small. They look larger than they are because of all their hair. But one thing they can do, if something grabs them, they actually can release their fur. So it'll just fall right off and then they're able to scurry away. So even though she looks really fluffy, this is a lot of hair. Her body's actually much smaller than that. Another thing that they can do, it's kind of gross, but they'll stand up just on their back legs and they can actually spray their urine too to deter predators. So another really cool kind of gross thing that chinchillas do to help keep themselves safe. So do we have any questions today about Andy, our animal friend?
What is the purpose of the whiskers?
Oh, the whiskers, that's a great question. So you'll notice she has these really long whiskers, and you notice they're kind of moving right now. So they use that to sense around their environment. So they're in the Andes Mountains, they're in these rocks and these crevices and trying to figure out where they can fit into to be safe, and they'll use these whiskers to feel around their environment. It's just kind of another way they can sense where they're at and what's around them.
Do they live in the ground and burrow, or are they living in the trees?
They don't really live in trees, they don't really burrow either. They're more of gonna use the native rocks and plants around them for shelter to be safe. They can't get wet, like I said earlier, so they actually, the way they clean themselves and get the oils off of their hair is to roll around in kind of a dust, and that's how they stay clean. It removes all the oils from their skin and their hair. Their hair mats really easily if it gets wet, so that's why they have to stay dry.
How big can they get?
So Andy here is full grown, but she is a little bit on the smaller side for a chinchilla. She weighs about a pound. We do have another chinchilla ambassador animal that is a good amount larger than Andy here. So about a pound, and this would be full size for a chinchilla. All right, thank you guys so much for joining us for Meet an Animal Friend Friday. Thank you for your support and watching our videos and liking and sharing them with your friends. And we hope to see you out here at the zoo soon. And we will see you next week for another day of Meet an Animal Friend Friday. Thank you.